all of San Diego. That's what I feel. I'm gonna go. Copyrighted music.
Pretty sure
What can they hear right?
they can hear.
Hey,
Just your house.
you got Braves, right?
I think they're gonna win. You mean?
Well, like over the Dodgers, you want them to win.
I want. Yeah, I'm rooting for the Braves. Sure.
So then, are you saying Brave Sox or?
Yeah, I think that's who I'm rooting for. We don't have a dog in the fight. Well, the Astros are leading right to a deep.
Does the music playing have copyright issues?
Absolutely.
Should I mute it then?
What?
Should I mute it on my side?
Yep.
Oh yeah, you can use it on here.
I'll just fade it when they come out. Someone's coming. Still 6 minutes.
So do you need to know where to go?
Oh, maybe.
You need to know when my volume comes on for the video.
He should be able
Just
to.
yell at him.
You'll be able to see it come up. The video comes up. Shouldn't be too much of a hassle.
Nope. When is that? Basketball.
That's all I need to know. Who starts this? Yeah.
Good shit. Good shit.
Who's starting on this?
Over under 10 seconds for Troyer to start crying.
What?
Over under 10 seconds for Troyer to start crying.
Under.
No.
I'll take the under. I think your 10's high.
I don't know if that's a good.
Yeah, I
3.5.
think you need to put your line at 5.
You can move it to 3.5.
Crying walking up.
Are you saying when he gets announced, or
Not yet. It's going to
when he
happen.
starts his speech? I was behind him. He looks fine when he got announced earlier today. So she keeps rocking across the stage. I'm like, "Can we start?"
This thing starts now, technically.
Yeah.
Switch to the. Can we switch to the camera view? So we can
You
show
wanna do it now?
On YouTube, they've been watching a blank screen for 7 months.
Yeah.
And we got 4 viewers now. Finally.
I feel like I'm confusing them without any volume at this point.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome
Nailed that
to
one.
Mid-American Nazarene University, the Bell Cultural Events Center, and
Good start.
one of the events that we, our athletic department, look so forward to every year. It's where we say intersections from the past and the present and the future collide. So we feel like we have this big auditorium where we can all spread out, and we feel like we're strength in minority here, but we appreciate you being here. We've got a full slate of recognitions here today, and I just want to say thank you for joining us as we recognize and honor the success of some of our brightest and best from the years before us. So without further ado, we want to go ahead and get started, and the way we do that is we recognize our current MNU Sports Hall of Fame members, and we will begin today with Mr. Adam Hepker, men's basketball, 2014. Mr. Doug Lott, meritorious service, 2016. Mr. Justin Wack, men's soccer, 2016. Dr. Mark Brown, track and field, class of 2018. Mr. Mark A. Moore Jr., track and field, 2018 as well. Dr. Mike Redwine, football, class of 2012. Molly Brewster Karagiel-Orov, volleyball, class of 2018.
Fight song twice through.
Mrs. Priscilla Roberts Fields, women's basketball, 1991. Coach Rick Fields, meritorious service, class of 2013. And last but not least, Rocky Lamar, men's basketball, 1984. Well, as we celebrate their inductions just a few years ago, or many years ago, 84, we look forward to this group. And at this time, it's my distinct honor to introduce to you the class of 2021 MNU Sports Hall of Fame inductees. We begin with Mr. Clayton Brandt from baseball. Trent Remick, men's soccer. Dennis Troyer, otherwise known as DT to all of us, for meritorious service. And Daria Sprue, women's basketball. And uniquely, we come together to celebrate and honor our 2015-2016 NAIA Women's Basketball National Champions. And we begin with those who are able to attend. Miss Lindsay Johnson. Whitney Waugh. Tylisha Weston. Jasmine Webb. Assistant coach Olive Palou. And our head coach John Lewis. Well, one more time, can you congratulate these folk? And as we do that, we're going to take a quick picture and then we'll find our seats. Let's squeeze in, guys. Rocky, can you stay here for a second? Before everybody gets to their podium, I'm going to take administrative liberties and just take a minute to honor and recognize our head men's basketball coach, Rocky Lamar, as he, for those of you who don't know, has announced that this is his final year as head basketball coach at Mid-America. After 35 years, this will be 36. So in a public setting like this, we just want to say thank you for what you've done. The countless lives, I think I did some quick math, probably well into the 500 to 750 student athletes that have played basketball for you, and those who didn't, who you still had a chance to influence. And we're reminiscent about all the success on the field that he's had, on the court, and all the, 7 trips to the Final Four, 19 trips to the national tournament, and the list goes on. But I think what we're most proud of is the influence that you made in young men. So we want to honor you, Rocky. So thank you, and congratulations on your retirement, brother.
I'll just break a couple mics today.
Okay, about dropped that. And I was a catcher. Well, if you've had a chance to kind of sneak a peek as you pulled in here today, you're going to see a really nice building that's going up. And I mentioned to you that this is kind of that intersection of the past and the present and the future. We are thoroughly excited about the direction of our institution, and part of that means we have new buildings going up and new activities all across campus, and we celebrate that. And I don't mind that those guys are fussing, because those are future pioneers. That's awesome. So, but boy, we just are excited to honor and celebrate this group of people for your influence and your impact in this institution as a student athlete, both as a player but as a person in your leadership. So it's exciting to share this moment with you. And we have, and you go into our athletic department, you're going to see we have a banner, if you will, right in the office that talks about our core covenants. It's kind of our binding agreements. It's kind of our commitment to each other and our student athletes and our campus. And each one of these candidates, as well as our team and individuals, represent that core covenant. And those core covenants are competitive, discipline, family, integrity, and passion. And as I began to think about each one of these individuals, they checked every one of those boxes, among others. So we are honored to have you here to celebrate that group and to celebrate each and every one of you individually. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. And our first honoree for today is Mr. Clayton Brandt, and our current and then head coach, Ryan Thompson, will be bringing his remarks today. Please welcome Coach Ryan Thompson.
Thanks, Todd. Well, it's fitting that Clayton and I are batting leadoff, because Clayton did that very well for 3 years for me, so I hope I can do half as good as he did. Today's a great day for our MNU baseball program and for Clayton and his family. Today it feels like I'm introducing family, because Clayton and I's lives are entwined in so many ways. For those of us who had the opportunity to see Clayton in his career, we know that this honor is well deserved. Clayton was a great player, leader, and teammate. In our program, we talk about two sides of the coin. We want guys that have great character and talent, and we want the best combination of both, and Clayton embodies that idea. In the summer of 2012, we had just finished a successful season and graduated our starting shortstop. Our coaching staff spent the early part of the summer looking for someone to fill those shoes. I received a text from my team captain and my starting shortstop, Colin Starr. Colin, you here today? There he is. He said, I got a player that I think could help us. He said, I haven't seen someone play shortstop like this since my time in Arizona at my junior college. I said, okay, that sounds great. I'll give him a call. Send me his number. So Colin sent it over, and it was a 217 area code. That's the same area code I grew up in. And to put it in context, this is rural Illinois. So I grew up in a town of 600 people. So I thought right away, there's a good chance I might know who this is. So I did a little research, found out Clayton grew up about 20 minutes from me and played in a high school that was in the same conference as mine. Even found out later his aunt was my second grade teacher. So we had a lot in common right away. So that's why it feels so much like I'm introducing family. Clayton came for a workout. I called my assistant coach and I said, this player's really good, and he's also good enough to play professional baseball someday. Clayton came to our program, and it made an immediate impact. And his story is just a reminder of God's providence in our recruiting. We work hard, but we see his work in bringing young men to MNU, and so thankful that I had the opportunity to coach him. He quickly took our program to new heights. At the conclusion of most games, we'll meet with our opposing coach, and for 3 years, most of the comments out of our opponent's coach was, wow, your shortstop's an incredible player. What's his story? So I'd get to tell him about Clayton. Clayton racked up many accolades in his 3-year career. He was an academic All-American. He was a 5-time Conference Player of the Week, Strength and Conditioning All-American, 2-time First Team All-Conference, 2015 Conference Player of the Year, 2015 First Team NAI All-American. It was the first one in our program's history. He led our 2014 team to our first regular season conference championship, first in our program's history since 1986. He led us to a 2014 conference tournament championship, and in 2014 led us to our first ever NAIA national tournament appearance, and then another one in 2015. And as I reflect on Clayton, he has so many individual stats as well, but so many of his accomplishments were also team accomplishments, and we had accomplished them for the first time in our program's history. He had 41 career stolen bases, 41 single season, and 81 for his career, and many other offensive stats. In 2015, we headed to Oklahoma Baptist to play in the national tournament, and we were facing a current pitcher. Their pitcher in that game is now a current member of the Texas Rangers, and we were facing him in game 1. Clayton went out, got a base hit, stole a base, and made a plus defensive play. And the scouting director for the Washington Nationals was there, and he made a call back to the office and said, I think I just found our shortstop. And they selected Clayton in the 19th round of the Major League Baseball draft that following summer. In his second year of professional baseball, Clayton set the New York Penn League record for fielding percentage with a .979 fielding percentage. He had a 24-game errorless streak at shortstop and made only 4 errors all season. At the conclusion of his professional career, Clayton joined the MNU coaching staff, where he made an immediate impact. He's an excellent coach as well as player. He helped our Pioneers to a 2017 conference tournament championship and another NAIA national tournament appearance as a coach. On the field, he was a great leader. As a player, Clayton was a coach on the field. As our shortstop, he was the leader of our defense. I trusted Clayton 100%. So much so that when he ended his playing career after 3 years, I had to call him to ask him what our signs and signals were for the shortstop because I had forgotten them. I delegated it, trusted him, and let him do his job well. In 2014 against Peru State, game 1 of our series that would decide the regular season conference championship, we were down 1-0 with 2 outs, 2 strikes on our batter, and Clayton was on second base. And he kept asking. He asked for the steal sign, which, for those of you who know baseball, not the most ideal time to steal. He's already in scoring position, but we trusted him because we knew he had good instincts and we knew he'd make good decisions. He stole third, ball went to left field. We tied the game and ended up winning it, sweeping the series, and it propelled us to our first conference championship since 1986. Also, Clayton was a standout as a teammate. I asked a couple teammates to give me some quotes. Joe Smith, class of 2014, said Clay was a coach on the field, the best teammate in the clubhouse, a natural at whatever he did, but humble in every moment. He was truly a blessing to watch and took the program to a new level. Colin Starr, class of 2014. I still remember watching Clayton take infield ground balls for the first time. I immediately knew his athletic ability was distinguishing. But being teammates with Clayton for 2 seasons showed me there was a lot more to the man than a good glove and a guaranteed stolen base. Clayton was reliable in every sense of the word. We could rely on him for a clutch hit, a last-inning stolen base, an acrobatic running throw. We could rely on his 40-inch vertical when I airmailed a throw to second base. Clayton came from a great family where faith, family, and hard work were pillars. These core values permeated into our team, where his faith was undeniable, his teammates became his family, and his work ethic was non-negotiable. He's loyal, trustworthy, and a true man of character. It's amazing to call him a good friend. I'm proud to have played with Clayton, and no surprise to me, he's being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Clayton, since your playing days have ended, it's been my joy to watch you grow in your walk with Christ, as a husband and as a father. It's now one of my greatest highlights is seeing you and Riley stand at the backstop at practice and get a chance to stay connected with you. But today it's just my honor to introduce you as the newest member of the MNU Hall of Fame, Clayton Brandt.
Not one for speeches, so bear with me. Coach, thanks for the kind words. To begin with, I'd like to give a big thanks, one to my parents, the late night drives, flights, events, showcases, the things that you've sacrificed for my sister and I to give me the support on and off the field every day. My wife, Kelly, for supporting me and encouraging me along this journey. My former teammates for pushing me to get better each and every single day. MNU faculty and staff, both from the educational side as well as the athletics side, supporting the athletics as well as the leadership in the classroom. Former coaches for committing long hours to provide the needs to allow me to get better every day. Personally, Coach Thompson for the leadership, commitment, and dedication to not only help me become the athlete I was, but the person I am today. And finally, I'd like to thank Christy Thompson, Coach's wife, for supporting Coach so that he can continue to lead players just as I was for him into becoming elite athletes and young men when their careers end. I know her sacrifices for her family are much appreciated, and I don't want that to be overlooked. As a former coach, I know that you play a huge role in supporting Coach Tia to lead the baseball program with integrity and to strive to give the athletes the best chance to grow, learn, and mature. So tell her I said thank you. My journey to MNU is quite unique. The summer before coming to MNU, I was playing summer ball in Wichita, Kansas. A teammate of mine, Colin Starr, as Coach kind of said, originally was looking for an infielder. He had been on me all summer about visiting MNU. I finally got tired of getting nagged to come to Kansas City. I said, okay, I'll go to Kansas City. There's an off day. I get free batting practice, get to take some ground balls, and get a meal on MNU. So anyway, long story short, my career changed that day. Like Coach said, met me at the field, asked me about the 217 area code. And I said, well, I'm from a small town of 500. Nobody knows what it is or where it's at. The rest of the story, he said. Didn't think anything of it at the time. That was until I got a call from my mom and dad, and they knew how practice went. They knew how games went, and I couldn't figure it out because I hadn't talked to them. Coach's brother delivers packages to my family's farm back home. So I couldn't get away with anything when I thought I left the house. Anyway, my first year at MNU, I had committed to a junior college before heading to Wichita that summer, back near home. And I ended up decommitting to come to MNU. That year, the junior college that I committed to went on to the College World Series, and MNU, lack of a better term, didn't have a real good season in 2013. Thanks to Coach Thompson and Coach Allison, they worked relentlessly to turn that team around and encouraged me that I was going to be an important piece in that process. The 2014 and 15 seasons were unforgettable years for me, but in those years of athletic success, awards, and accolades, I began to see my childhood dream come true, or become a reality. Thanks to Coach, he pushed me when I didn't want pushed, encouraged me when I needed it, and got on me when I deserved it. As a 2015 draft pick, my dream became reality. But there was always one thing that stuck in my head after leaving MNU to chase that dream. A question that Coach had asked the leadership group in 2014, why do we truly play the game? In my 2 seasons of Pro Bowl, I lost sight of what was important and why I was really actually playing the game. Instead of focusing on trying to be a witness to others what a Christian athlete looks like and a platform that I was blessed to be a part of, I was beginning to play just so I could say I'm a professional athlete. I decided to retire after 2 seasons to put my focus back on my relationship with Christ, my wife, and now my family. So all in all, that one simple question, Coach, that you asked has impacted me to this day, and I wouldn't go back and change anything. Coach T, you'll always play a much larger role in your players' lives than just the title coach, and that's what separates you from many other coaches. It was a true honor to play and coach under your leadership. To conclude things, I'd like to say congratulations to the other inductees as well as the Women's National Championship basketball team. And it's an honor to stand here today and join so many former great MNU athletes into the MNU Athletics Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Well, congrats, Clayton. Me being a kind of a baseball guy, Coach pulled up some video the other day as we try to do the same thing with some of our other athletes and watched the highlight film from 16. I feel kind of bad, Clayton. I feel like maybe we ought to put you in twice because you spent just as equally as much time on the second base side fielding their ground balls than you did on your side. So maybe a ball hog, maybe you just need a little help over there, but well done. Congrats. So, well, our next presenter will present on behalf of Trent Remick and men's soccer. So welcome to the stage head coach Kevin Wardlaw to provide remarks for Trent's time.
I got to MNU in 2003, and thankfully it wasn't my first rodeo. And I'd been a head coach in Texas and an assistant coach in Kentucky and in Illinois. And so one of the first things that you do when you take over a program is you kind of got to get a lay of the land. And so back then, an easy way to do it in this area was to get involved with what was called the Olympic Development Program. And so every state, for those of you that are non-soccer people, which is quite a few of you in here, I'm sure, the Olympic Development Program was a way for young talent to be identified. And so in the state of Kansas, kids would come from all over the place and try to make the team, and then you would have a pool of players that were selected in each age group. And so as a college coach, it wasn't that hard for me to go to the state association and basically say, hey, listen, I'm willing to do this. And that would get me then around a lot of different players from all over the state. It would kind of allow me to kind of see what the structure looked like. And so they gave me, keep in mind, all I've done in my time as a coach is coach college. And so I'm expecting, maybe they'll give me 17-year-olds, maybe some 18-year-olds, maybe 16-year-olds. They gave me 12 and 13-year-olds. And lo and behold, this is where Trent Remick's and I's journey starts. He was selected the state group that year, and I was his ODP coach. He was 12 years old. He turned 13 later that year. And so we got to know each other at that. He was this scrawny little runt. Probably shouldn't have made the team, but somebody along the way allowed him to. And so I was like, all right, come on, let's go. And so Trent's and I journey started then. You never know how God works, but I did that for about 2 years is all I needed to do it. That's the most politically correct way I know how to say that. And so I moved out and then just continued here at MNU and didn't no longer work with the ODP program. Trent's from Wichita, and so, our stories and our paths didn't really bump into each other a ton during those next 5 years. But I always obviously remembered the kids that played for me in the ODP program, remembered Trent. And around his junior year, he doesn't know this, is, you kind of keep tabs on what's going on around the state. And I kept seeing this kid in Wichita just scoring goals. And I didn't really know him as a club player, so we didn't really track his club team as much. But in high school, it was just, you see the stats and you see the way the school does and you see, a name. And it was just Trent scoring goals. And I was like, my gosh, he's really grown up and he's doing really, really well. And so we got in contact with each other around his senior year. Trent is what we call a late bloomer. And so I absolutely love late bloomers. We've had so much success over the years just from a recruiting standpoint. And a lot of it is because there's untapped potential there. And there's obviously a lot of things that you can't see as a coach. I would never claim to be that smart. But you see guys that have character, you see guys that have drive, they have ability, but on the men's side, they're just not quite there yet. They haven't really grown into their bodies. They're not quite into that kind of next stage of their athletic careers, and that's exactly what I saw in Trent. And so Trent looked around a little bit and thankfully committed to MNU. And I remember telling my assistant at the time, he said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I think we got something here." I said, "We're not going to know for a little bit, but I think Trent could be a really, really, really nice college player if everything goes well." Man, was I right. 2009, he joined our program. It is one of only 2 losing seasons in the 20-year history of MNU. But what Trent decides to be a part of, you'll hear in his story as I explain it to you, when Trent puts his mind to something, he succeeds at it. And that's probably his greatest attribute, is that he is not only a man of character, integrity, a phenomenal athlete, an incredible human being, now an incredible father and husband. But when Trent puts his mind to something, he's going to pursue it to excellence. And there's no question about that. And you could see that in him even as a young man. And so in 2009, we have a losing year. It's not a pretty year. For those of you that have been around MNU that long, we've got stories we don't like telling. But Trent took on kind of the role of being a part of something and building it. And so fast forward to his junior and senior year. His junior year, he set the season record for goals. We went to the NAIA National Tournament, won the conference tournament that year, and then in 2012 culminated his 4-year career with a run to the Final Four. And so from 2009 having a losing season to 2012 making it to the NAIA Final Four, Trent was a massive, massive part. You can see there in your brochure all of the different records he set. Those things are incredible and kind of just show statistically how important he was. But more than that, it's what Trent kind of embodies. And so I told you he pursues things to excellence. And so his playing career ended here at MNU. And sure enough, he steps out into the real world. And as coaches in the room, all of us kind of share this sentiment, is that we are unbelievably blessed to be a part of our student athletes' lives in the 4 years, 2 years, 1 year, 3 years they're here. But what we aspire to is that they step out into life and they pursue that excellence in life at the same level or a greater way than they did when they were here wearing the uniform that had MNU across the front. And so that's exactly what Trent has done. He went to UMKC's block MBA program, was accepted into that incredibly prestigious master's program, which is hard to get into to begin with. And then not only that, but was also fast-tracked through that in the 2-year process, which approximately only 50% of the people who get into that actually get fast-tracked. And so excelled academically as he did here at MNU outside, and then has gone on in the corporate world and in the sales world that he's a part of to be unbelievably successful. I asked him right when he got his first sales job, I said, "What are you selling?" You know, because sales to me is you got to sell stuff. And he kind of chuckled. And I was like, I didn't think that was that funny. And he said, "Coach," he said, "I don't sell anything." He goes, "I got something everybody else needs. They come to me." And I was like, there you go. That's Trent for you. If you're going to get into sales, make sure it's something everybody else needs. And that's exactly what Trent has done. And now it's not only was my honor to coach him But uniquely, as it happens with different players throughout my career, Trent and I have become really, really good friends. We share way too much time on the golf course together, more than our wives probably care for, but if it was up to us, we'd probably do it a little bit more. And he's actually kicking my butt in golf too, which isn't very nice, but that's okay. Trent's a phenomenal human being. He's a phenomenal man. It's been an absolute honor to watch him grow up from the time he was 12 to where he is today, with ironically his son's birthday being today, 1 year old. And so he is absolutely, he deserves this honor. He goes in a long lineage of incredible soccer players that have helped build this program into the nationally prominent level that it is today. And so it's my honor to present Trent Remick.
So obviously, there's a lot of people I'd like to thank. I'd like to start with MNU and Todd. I don't even think I realized when I was playing that there was a Hall of Fame. So it never crossed my mind. Once I did find out after, I always kind of hoped, and I always thought that maybe there was a chance I'd get in. So actually being inducted, and even by Kevin, is it's a dream come true. So I appreciate that, and thank you, Todd, and thank you, MNU. MNU gave me more than just a diploma. From playing 4 years and coming here is not somewhere I expected to be. It set me up and prepared me for life. Like Kevin mentioned, grad school was my hardest challenge after college. It was something I wasn't prepared for, but MNU gave me the tools to be ready for that, and it set me up for the life after that. So for my peers and my professors, from the freshman Lanford dorm to Colony, I'll always be thankful for my time here. So I appreciate that, and thank you. Next, I want to thank my teammates and Coach Wardlaw. None of this would be possible without them. I was lucky enough to be part of 4 incredible teams, 4 extremely different teams. From my freshman year, chaos and, again, stories, and a losing record, to ending with stability and a team that we had a core group of guys that were really close and making the first Final Four and just ending on a really high note. It was a really unique 4 teams to be a part of. I think I got this right. I played with guys from all ages and from all countries. And going back through my 4 years, I went through the countries of guys that I was able to play with. And I played with guys from the United States, France, England, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Israel, Japan, Sweden, Australia, Mexico, Canada, and Senegal. So I played with a guy from 6 of the 7 continents and was lucky to form these lasting friendships and bonds with guys from all over the country, from all different ways of life and cultures, and I'm lucky enough to stay in contact with most of them still today. Just to share a story about one of these guys who unfortunately couldn't make it today, Omar Sek. If any of you know Big O, he is 6'5", 6'5", 6'6", whatever. He was a 31-year-old sophomore. So, yep. Omar was an incredibly talented soccer player, but he was an even better human being. Omar was massive. He could score from anywhere. He was technical. He played at a high level his entire life. And when other teams were probably scouting, they could choose between the 6'5" guy from Senegal or the 131-pound kid from Wichita. So it was their decision was probably pretty easy. Once Omar and I were paired together and we kind of realized that our paths would be intertwined for a while, he told me something that I'll always remember. And he looked at me one day at practice, and this is pretty word for word because I asked him. He said, "Trenty, I'm going to make you shine, little rabbit." And I looked at him, and one, he did call me Little Rabbit. I was 131 pounds with little no muscle, but I was fast. And I don't know exactly what I said back to him, but knowing me, it was something cocky, and it was, "Yeah, right, Big O, I'm going to make you shine," or, yeah, Big O, we'll see. Looking back, I may have known what he meant deep down, but Big O was one of the most unselfish people I've ever met. Big O didn't care about the credit. He didn't care about the goals like I did. He didn't care about the stats. He saw the bigger picture. He wanted us to be successful, and he went out of his way, on and off the field, to make my life easy. The reason I share this story is that my time at MNU was filled with guys like Big O. I wouldn't be up here without my teammates throughout the time, and I'm extremely thankful for all of them. Next, I want to thank Kevin. I'm lucky enough to still have, depending on who you ask, an extremely good relationship with Kevin still. Our lives have been intertwined for a while. We try and grab sushi a couple times a month, and we golf as much as we can, probably more than our wives like, throughout the summer. If you know the results of this year's MNU golf tournament, don't be fooled. Kevin's golf game is it's unique, and the only reason I say that is, one, it's funny, and I got the chance to say it in front of other people, but two, because it shows how good our friendship actually is for me to spend those hours out on the golf course looking for his ball and, you know, just hanging out. No, but really, I'm extremely thankful for Kevin, on and off the field. I'm lucky enough to still coach in the club he founded, and support him wholeheartedly. He's part of the reason I'm into coaching, and he's helped form me into the man I am today, so thank you. Lastly, I'd like to thank my family. First, my parents. They gave me all the opportunities in the world growing up to be able to pursue collegiate soccer. From bringing me home-cooked food, which I demanded after home games, and driving to every away game they could. My parents were and still are my biggest fans. I'm extremely lucky to have them support me throughout my journey. I know none of my life today would be possible without their help, so I appreciate them, and hopefully I can be the same to Brooks. Lastly, I want to thank my wife, and who you guys have probably heard, my 1-year-old son, Brooks, in the back. They have to put up with me on a daily basis, so I'm extremely lucky to have them in my life. I get to coach youth soccer throughout the year, and I'm gone a minimum of 3 to 4 evenings a week. So to have a wife like Brittany that puts up with a crazy 1-year-old as Brooksy is truly special. So she supports me through all I do. She helps me in every way possible, and has definitely made staying around the game and keeping my competitive edge coaching a possibility. So thank you. All these people and many more are responsible for me being up here. I wouldn't be close to this without my peers and my teammates throughout the years. So again, thank you. Thank you, MNU, for this honor, and congrats on the other inductees. You guys all deserve it. So thank you.
No playing time at risk when you take shots at the head guy, is there? You're safe. You know, it's interesting you get the chance to spend time with people throughout this process, you guys as former athletes. And Trent's a pretty sharp guy. I showed him the picture at Chapel. I'm like, do you remember some of those moments? He's like, yep, that was Graceland. And he goes, I remember every goal. I'm like, what? A little weird, but really cool, Trent. So congratulations to you on your honor. So, well, this time, man, it's just an absolute pleasure to welcome and to honor a good friend of all of ours, and in Dennis Troyer, DT. And at this time, it's a pleasure to invite Shannon and Brandon, his son and daughter, to bring their remarks on their father. So, welcome to the stage.
I'm gonna go a little off book for just a second because I'm already emotional, you guys. I took a lot longer to go through school than the 3 years when I came in. I see you in the corner. I didn't know you were gonna be here. But I have been so lucky that it took me 9 years because I got to be peers with everybody inducted today. And a lot of the people standing up on the stage that were inducted first have been a huge part of my life since day one. When I got passed through the student section at basketball, and I'm in more yearbooks than Dad, if you believe it or not. But we were talking as the notice came out who was being inducted with Dad today, and there could not have been a better class for us to come up here and introduce our dad to go in with today. I worked with Trent, and I worked with Daria as an athletic training major, and Clayton, the influence you made, not just on the baseball field, but at the school in general. You guys deserve every ounce of this. And I am not gonna make it through this, you guys. But I'm gonna start. Oh, so sorry. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines meritorious as deserving of honor or esteem, and notates that words like applaudable, commendable, and credible could be used in its place. It goes on to further indicate that people who demonstrate meritorious behavior certainly earn our respect, and that nowadays, the rewards earned for meritorious acts are likely to be of an immaterial nature, such as gratitude, admiration, and praise.
I can't promise that I'll make it through this either, so bear with the Troyers. Thank you. Growing up, we were always taught to never take a situation for granted. You always have opportunities, especially here, and there are opportunities that other people pray for day in and day out. These are words that I've always heard my whole life, whether it was sports or whether it was just learning about how life, treats you. It was just always about appreciating your blessings. The lessons sprinkled throughout were also helpful because they taught us how to use our blessings to impact the lives of others. If you know my dad, that's his philosophy. And there is no one thing that he has in abundance more than the love he has for changing lives of other people.
I think it's fair to say that our love of the game, or maybe more correctly, the games, because he loves them all, we truly do get honestly from our dad. We grew up flipping back and forth between the channels because our teams were on multiple at the same time, and we didn't want to miss anything of importance. Tuning into sports radio in the car, cheering for our teams in the stands or on the sidelines, and color coordinating as a family for whichever team it was that had the highest priority that day. Simply put, we were constantly soaking up his knowledge of the fundamentals, learning the strategy, and taking on his passions as our own.
And it wasn't just about the love of the game for our dad. It was always about his love of the people involved. Whether or not he had plans from the beginning, that I don't know. But I can tell you, however, that without a doubt, he has loved every second of every game that he's ever worked. He has always cherished his interactions with student athletes, with the coaching staffs, with the athletic trainers, and the Pioneer fan base of families and friends.
Incredibly enough, his reach extends beyond just his involvement on campus with the Pioneer athletes who represent in their red and blue. During his more than 50 years of feet on the ground on Mid-America's campus, his influence has reached to the visiting teams and coaching staff, various Heart of America Athletic Conference officials, and on a national stage as he represents the Pioneers at the NAIA Division I Men's National Basketball Championship Tournament in Kansas City.
I don't know if anybody else knew this out there, but he actually started as a cameraman. And he started as a cameraman back in 80, was it 81 or was it 70? It was a long time ago. From the early days as a cameraman to cracking jokes in the middle of the scorer's table with players waiting to check in during a basketball game, Dad has always loved to be a part of the process. Acting as a team chaplain for volleyball, smacking down Donna dogs. If you know about Donna dogs, hey,
You've been around.
yeah, you know the good stuff. Smacking down Donna dogs in the press box during football halftime, or getting chilled to the bone during the softball doubleheaders after the sun goes down. These are all just examples of the commitment that DT has for Mid-America. He's notorious for battling over the coveted starting pitcher role in intramural softball. He is recognized as the iconic voice that resonates over MNU baseball's Dixon Field, and this is so cool. He is acknowledged and celebrated for taking ownership as Mid-America's first ever starting right fielder in the baseball program's history. And man, that's just so cool to me. But I mean, our dad's done it all, you know, and most notably, he has been a true example of professionalism and determination every step of the way for anybody who wanted to watch.
As I was thinking about all of the things that our dad deserved to have said about him today, that my long-winded nature had to fit into a 5-minute time limit, my mind kept circling back to one thing. A morning prayer that I started with my goddaughters when I got the opportunity to start taking them to school last year. Seeing that the world was deep in the midst of COVID at the time, the prayer asked for God's blessings of health and protection, but it also focused on us being aware of the opportunities we had throughout the day to be Jesus to somebody, especially to someone who may not have met him yet, or who needed a reminder that he's still there. As I look back and sit with the weight of this ask, I get completely overwhelmed with the emotions, thinking about the number of people that our dad has been able to be Jesus to over the years, simply because of the role he held at this wonderful university and his involvement with Mid-America athletics, in whichever capacity it was for the moment. We are beyond lucky to have him, and it has truly been the joy and pride of our lives to have been able to share him with each and every single one of them, and with all of you. We always knew what he was doing for the school, but as I've gotten older, I've realized exactly what he was doing for God's kingdom as well.
Dad, we're all so proud of you and everything you've accomplished. I mean, thank you for instilling your skills of determination and progressive work ethic within not only us, but everyone in this room. You've always encouraged the importance of pursuing your passions, as well as trying to be intentional and patient when things don't go according to plan. To learn from defeat and to be humble in the success. You might always be doing better than you deserve, but we've always known you to be deserving of an accomplishment of this status. Dad, you've always been a legend in my eyes, for as long as I can remember, but now you're officially MNU's next campus legend.
To the man who has been better to all of us than we deserve. Congratulations,
Congrats,
Dad. Welcome to Mid-America's Nazarene University's Athletic Hall of Fame. Dennis D.T. Troyer!
First, it's important that you know that I'm a member of CA, Criers Anonymous, and I will probably shed some tears today. Yes, I already have. On July 4th, 1939, Lou Gehrig, longtime first baseman of the New York Yankees and known as the Iron Horse, for his 2,130 consecutive games played, which ended on May 2nd, 1939, when he voluntarily took himself out of the lineup due to his subpar performance, was honored in front of a sold-out crowd in famous Yankee Stadium on Lou Gehrig Appreciation Day. He had been diagnosed earlier that season with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, or ALS, now known as Lou Gehrig's disease, and had been given 3 years to live. During that ceremony, he was recognized by his former Yankee teammate, Babe Ruth, as a vital member of the 1927 Yankees, deemed by Ruth as the greatest team in Yankee history. Touched to tears by the tribute, Gehrig said, "For the past 2 weeks, you have been reading about a bad break. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. I might have been given a bad break, but I have got an awful lot to live for." One commentator said, quote, He counted himself lucky because the life being cut short was so full. It was full of accomplishments. 7-time All-Star, a Triple Crown winner, an American League MVP twice, a member of 6 World Series champions teams, a career .340 batting average, a .447 on-base percentage. He hit 493 home runs and collected 1,995 runs batted in. He was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1939 and was the first Major League Baseball player to have his uniform number 4, retired by a team. Unlike the Iron Horse, I consider myself more like the old plow horse the farmer counts on each day to do the work asked of him. I do not consider myself as lucky. Today, I consider myself to be one of the most blessed men on the face of the earth. Unlike Lou Gehrig's tragically shortened life, my life has been blessed with many years of joy. Like Lou Gehrig, my life is full of memories and relationships, full of people I love, full of sharing life experiences with so many gifted athletes, coaches, faculty members, co-workers, and my family. I came to MANC to visit, yes, MANC, back before we became a university, because my pastor in Iowa City, Iowa, who I happened to see at chapel this morning, Ron Wilson, drove a car full of high school students to campus for the Iowa Joplin Motorcade. Now, doesn't that sound exciting? That's what we used to call it when you came to visit, more recently known as College Days, Scout, or Pioneer Days in 1970 in October. The guys slept on cots in Land Gym. Reverend Wilson remembered that this morning and told us about it. We attended a revival service in Garrett Chapel at College Church. I changed clothes for a banquet in the men's bathroom on first floor of Lund Building. Those are my memories from that weekend. For years, my plan was to attend the University of Iowa, to major in business administration and work towards becoming a CPA, just like my church youth group leader. But that weekend changed the course for the life of a farm kid from eastern Iowa forever. I felt God speak to me and tell me that this small college in Olathe, Kansas had a place for me. My parents supported wholeheartedly my decision. What I didn't realize was this: I was a first-gen kid. My great-great-grandfather migrated with his family from Australia through Canada and down to Indiana. My family eventually moved to Iowa. I come from a long line of hardworking farming families. That environment is where I learned my work ethic. My dad worked on my grandfather's farm after he completed the 8th grade, and I started working alongside him in the fields when I was 8. My mom became sick in high school and was unable to complete the 11th grade. I attended a one-room country schoolhouse in rural Iowa for my kindergarten through 2nd grade years. The first 2 years in the same schoolhouse my dad attended. Even though education beyond 8th grade or high school was not their experience, they supported and encouraged me and sacrificed for me. I arrived on campus in August of 1972 and moved into Snowbarger dorm room 225. Our dorm dad, Bob Drummond, is the first person I remember meeting upon my arrival. He was so warm and welcoming, and my life-changing experiences at MNU began. Bob was also the same person who convinced me to stay in school when I wanted to quit and go home in my junior year in November of 1974. I've encountered so many God-filled people since that day. Some were my professors, some my fellow classmates, some were and are fellow workers, some were and are coaches, Some were and are staff workers from offices, food service, and facilities. They're from all across campus and spread over the 49 plus years of my experience with MNU. What is amazing to me is I'm just a guy who loves MNU athletics. And I'm surrounded by great athletes today in this 2021 class. I watched Trent's great prowess on the soccer pitch. I witnessed Clayton's magic and grit on the diamond. I marveled at Daria's power on the court. And we were all thrilled by the 2016 national champion MNU women's basketball team. Then there's me. I'm the guy pushing the buttons on the scoreboard and clock, or trying to pronounce names correctly by Coach Molly Karagio-Urav. That took me multiple matches to learn. Just a guy blessed with the opportunity to hang around and be allowed to do something I love. I want to recognize and thank my wife, Vicki, our daughter, Shannon, and our son, Brandon, for their support and love. They have carved out time in their schedules to allow me to participate in something I love, watching our student athletes excel in their sport and represent MNU so well. I also want to thank the committee for selecting me to this honor, and I want to congratulate each of the members of the MNU Athletics Hall of Fame class of 2021. We are not settlers, we are pioneers forever. Thank you.
Congratulations, DT. Dennis is one of those guys when you're here on campus, you're like, man, this guy's everywhere. So one of my first encounters when I came back here as head baseball coach, 98 I think it was, it might have been as late as 2000 when I kind of really got to know DT. And there was a kid out of Wichita, Kansas I went to see, and I roll up to watch him play and look down the chain link, there's Dennis. He was recruiting. I mean, the guy was a road warrior, and you've been instrumental in so many lives of people, so we honor you. Congratulations. Somebody gave me a hard time, too. They said they found out that he had been a part of 1,700 games, and they looked at me and said, what took you so long to get him in the Hall of Fame? 1,700 games, that's impressive. So, well, let's move along. Our next inductee is a stranger to none of the women's basketball teammates, but Daria Sprue, our next individual honoree, certainly credited with creating the pathway for our 15-16 national championship team. And presenting for her today is her dad, Mr. Calvin Sprue. Please welcome Calvin to the stage.
Woo! Still trying to get over that speech from DT and his kids. Wow. Is this exciting or what? Exciting and touching. First off, I just want to say it's an honor for me to be up here to present my daughter, Daria, into the 2021 MNU Hall of Fame. I was going to use my phone like the Troyer kids did, but some of you will understand this. I decided to put it on paper in big letters. Daria's done many great things so far in her lifetime, and her mom and I couldn't be more proud of all of her accomplishments, especially here today for her induction into the MNU Hall of Fame. But what we're most proud of is the person that she's always been. She's kind, she's caring, and just genuinely an all-around good person. Now, if you were to ask her about this honor, she'd agree this is a very special honor. But she quickly deflect and talk about her teammates. And that right there is what makes her so special, her selflessness. When Daria was growing up, she loved to be involved with any and every sport. And me as a sports dad, of course, I was all in, okay? When she was in high school, she played volleyball, softball, and basketball. And she excelled in all three sports. She was also involved in school plays and sang with the Madrigals. Having played college basketball myself, I kind of steered her more towards basketball than the other two sports. Daria was humble. She was a humble person off the court, but very competitive and tough to deal with on the court, especially when it came to teams playing man-to-man or her one-on-one. And I got a couple of stories about one-on-one play. When she was growing up, you know, she's not very tall. She's tall for a young lady, but she's not the tallest. And she's not really short. She's kind of like me. I played basketball and I was considered what you call a tweener, that in-between height. But she was a post player. And I thought, man, she's not very tall. So I've got to teach her. I was a post player, that tweener. I've got to teach her how to be as successful as possible. So once I started teaching her, I said, okay, you only need 3 moves. All this other stuff, you don't need to try to do all kinds of things. You need 3 moves in the post. The drop step, if you can't feel your man behind you, you turn around and face him, and the up and under move. One day, we were out training in a local park, empty park, I thought, and, you know, I didn't make it easy for her. She was strong, as DT said, her power. So I thought, I'm coming at her full strength. So we were going back and forth. And she came down, posted me up. She faked. She did an up and under. I went flying, ended up on my back. And this speaks to the type of person she is. She looks down at me and asked me if I was okay. I said, yeah. Then she scored the basket. And it was fine, except there was a guy in a car with his door open watching the whole thing. And he let me know, yep, I saw it. I saw it. I knew she was ready then. Once Daria reached college here at MNU, she excelled more than I expected, and her stats speak for themselves. And speaking of stats, I was told I wasn't going to have a whole lot of time, but Coach John gave me, with the assistance of Coach Olive, her stats. So I'm just going to read a few. Her freshman year, first team all-conference, All-American honorable mention. 2012, 2013, her sophomore year, second team all-conference. Her junior year, second team all-conference, All-American honorable mention. Her senior year, first team all-conference, second team All-American. 3 regular season championships, 3 conference tourney championships, 4 national tournaments that they attended, and 2 Sweet 16s. And this was the thing I was really looking for. I couldn't find her win-loss record in the 4 years here at MNU, which was 110 wins with only 23 losses. That's her overall. And in the conference, it was 65 wins with 7 losses. Another sidebar, a story that I have to tell. When you talk about her toughness and just being a problem in a one-on-one matchup, before the games, her grandpa and I, Doc Wilson, her late grandpa and I, we would analyze the players, trying to figure out who was going to guard her, if they were going to play man-to-man, or what have you. And once the game started, and we saw that they were going to play man-to-man, I was licking my chops, Grandpa Wilson was licking his chops, and I knew she was licking her chops because they were playing man-to-man, and she was tough to handle in the man-to-man setting. Her success here, all 4 years, has landed her a spot in MNU's Basketball Hall of Fame. Daria, your mom and I are proud of you. Daria is a mom. She's an ICU nurse in Topeka, Kansas. She's a daughter. She's a friend, a teammate, and now after today, she will be a Hall of Famer here at MNU in women's basketball. And you know what? None of this would be possible without God, and we give him all the glory. Ladies and gentlemen, Daria Alexis Sprue.
Thank you, Dad. First and foremost, I want to thank God. He knew exactly where I needed to be, the experiences that I needed to have, and who I needed to be surrounded with while I attended MNU. He blessed me in so many ways, and I'm extremely thankful that he gave me the opportunity to go to school here. After high school, I wasn't quite sure where I'd end up or what sport I'd end up playing, but God knew. The moment I walked onto this campus, I knew as well. The environment, the people that I met that day, and the way that I felt while I was here, I could feel his presence and that this was a place that I could call home. Of course, there were hard times and struggles, hard lessons learned, but there were so many good times that I will never forget, and I'm forever grateful for it all. Ultimately, I grew immensely, and I learned so many things about myself, and I feel so blessed that God chose this school for me. Secondly, I would like to thank my coaches, my teammates, my family, and the best fans ever. Coach John, Leslie, David, Alive, and Navia. I learned so much from each and every one of you on and off the court, and I'm so thankful for the words of advice, the constant push to be my best, to step outside of my comfort zone, and for the reminder to work hard and always believe in myself. Those things have carried me farther than you know.
I'd like to thank my family for their constant presence and support. I couldn't have done it without them. My dad, who played on the championship team at Washburn University in 1987, there you go, Dad, played a huge role in the player that I became and how I approached the game. He instilled the fundamentals and helped me grow and develop from year to year, and I'm so glad that I had him by my side through it all. At least one, if not more, of my family members made it to almost every single game. I absolutely loved being able to look up and see them in the stands night after night with big smiles on their faces and ready for the game ahead. My grandpa, who has since passed, he would not miss a game. He was one of my biggest fans, and he left a lasting impression on me. I could always hear him in the stands. Good, bad, and ugly, he was always there and rooting for us. My teammates, we may not all be as close as we once were, but I will always consider you guys my forever friends, but more importantly, family. The bonds that we created and the experiences we shared are absolutely unforgettable. And without them, none of this would be possible at all. From running 22s, ice baths, laying cables, long bus rides, the practice after losing a game. We went through it all. But every bit was worth it and has helped shape all of us into the women that we are now. And lastly, I want to thank the fans. You guys made playing in the Cook Center so much fun. And you kept us going, especially when things got tough time and time again. And he's not here, but I can't forget, I have to thank our #1 fan, Ryan Robinson, and someone's got to tell him. Every single game, front row, ready to give high fives and wish us good luck. He was the best. Overall, I just want to say that I'm just so thankful for the time spent here at MNU, and I'm so honored to be inducted into the Hall of Fame at such a great school among so many other great people. So thank you so much, and congrats to everyone else as well. Thank you.
Well, congrats, Daria. We need to make a note for next year that if we continue to have height issues, somebody's got to get me a box over here, please, okay? We'll have to do some work on that for next year. Congratulations, Daria. It was fun to make the phone call to her, and it took her several days to return the call. Why? Because she was on duty there for, I forget, several 12-hour shifts, and took a while to call me back. But to see roughing people up in the paint, and now you're putting young people back together, so congrats. So, well, our next inductees, certainly last but definitely not least, man, it's exciting to have you guys here, is our 2015-2016 season women's basketball team, winning the NAI National Championship, bringing our second NAI National Championship to us. But they just happened to kind of, and I think it was referenced this morning, bully this team in Baldwin City, Kansas, which everybody just is thrilled about 4 different times. So, but as the introduction to this team, we have a brief video that will actually provide you a little bit more context of how special they were.
You need to win 5 times in a week to win this NAI National Championship.
Throughout the entire season, it wasn't necessarily an easy one.
And so it just felt like, leading up to that national tournament, we were kind of getting in the groove and really started rolling.
We came to the realization that, anything can happen.
So we kept winning and we kept doing the same routine.
These two have to beat somebody they know very well to take home the title.
Playing your rival in the national championship game for the 4th time is unheard of to me.
Remember back in the day when you taught me to live and I taught you to pray.
We wanted to do something special for all those coaches and all those players who had been there before.
Soon walked in, but only one of us is walking out of here tonight. I'm a survivor. Fight for my life. Coming back stronger. I'm gonna rise. I'm a survivor. Saving my life. Coming back stronger. I'm gonna rise.
Mid-American Nazarene beats Baker, and the Pioneers are national champions.
Man, kind of makes you just want to open up the gym and see what we can do again, huh? Right? Man, that gets you excited, even if you didn't play. Well, at this time, it's my honor to welcome head coach John Lewis to provide his acceptance speech for our women's basketball team.
Well, thanks for having us. Excited to go last. I'm glad you guys all wrote out your speeches because that's not my style. So if I botch this, then I'll do it next time, if there is one. But first off, I want to start. This is a great opportunity to thank this team and for everything they've done. And it's definitely the focus is on them. But Daria just went. I just want to say a few things about Daria and her family. Daria was she was my first ever recruit, and kind of by default because the coach before was she was assistant coach at Kansas, and I ended up being her assistant here, and she recruited Daria. That's how good she was. People like Kansas were watching her. And so Karen left for a D1 job overnight, and this 27-year-old, I think at the time, maybe 28, had to call the Sprue family and try to beg them to come and stay true to her commitment. I think she had committed at the time, but now they were recommitting to this young man that had never coached a game. And so I'm just very thankful for them. And you can see the type of player she is and where she brought our program. And so you'll see she was first team all conference and freshman of the year her freshman year, and then she went 2 straight years of second team all conference, which was a job. But her team had advanced and gotten so good that she was another solid player on a really good team. And Daria's attitude was do whatever the team needed, and teams tried to take Daria away every game. So other people had to step up. So some of her stats suffered, but our team never did. And she got our team to where now we're celebrating a national championship. But it all came on the shoulders and back of her. And that senior year, she lost the Player of the Year vote by 1 vote. And it was one of the biggest crimes ever, because all I had to do was vote the girl that beat her in 3rd, and she would have got it. But the right thing to do is she was the 2nd best player. And Daria didn't get that award, but she's still the Player of the Year in our eyes. That would have made the 6th one we had in our program. And I just really thought she should get that respect and notice. She never took a poor shot. She never made a poor play. She shot 59% from the field, and it's unheard of. She was 2nd in the country that year, and that's because she always did things that made sense and at the right time, and she didn't go off on her own. And when she was gone and we went through our struggles the year we won this, because we did have struggles, the one name that was a constant that kept getting brought up was Daria, and the type of teammates we needed to be because of the type of teammate Daria was. And there was a game we took a really bad loss, and I'll maybe reference it when we get to the team, but her name came up time and time again, and it wasn't due to her basketball qualities. It was due to the type of person, leader, and teammate she was. So Daria and the Sprue family, thank you. I have a note from her grandpa. He was one of the biggest supporters and fans. He'd send me some strategies, and he would say, just give Daria the ball 10 more times, and you'll probably win more games, coach. And you know what? He was right. I think that last Sweet 16 game, we played Campbellsville, and they threw some funky zone. We ran no play. We cleared the girl out on the wing. We dribbled right over, and we threw it to Daria repeatedly. She almost brought us back. But thank you to the Sprue family for believing in me, in our program, in the university, and hope we've impacted her as much as she's impacted us. So thank you guys. I wish Grandpa was here, by the way, too. He deserves to see this, and he's watching. So anyways, I'll get to this. I'm a crier too, like Dennis. I love the university. I love these girls. I love the program. I love my family. And when you talk about all those things that you love, it brings joy and it brings tears. But I'll start and I'll get on my bullet points here. I want to start by thanking everybody, okay, especially the university, but first and foremost my wife. She was my longest recruit. Started recruiting her in high school. Recruited her all the way through college, and then I married her at 23 when I became eligible to do that. And she's been with me by my side ever since. She's my best friend. She's my best teammate. She's my best player. She's everything. She allows me to do what we do. You know, she's kind of behind the scenes. She's like me. We'd rather not be speaking or seeing. We want these girls getting the praise, but she supported me in the program, and I appreciate her for that. And I got 2 wonderful daughters that support me, and it's a beautiful thing. So thank you guys up there. To the school, you know, President Spittle, he'll email me, and I'll probably email 4 or 5 days later after a big win or something. I apologize for that, sir. I'm so thankful. Todd will tell you I'm just not the greatest with that. But he's the first one I have a note in my inbox after a big win or a championship. And beautiful thing he's doing with this university. I don't know how many years it's been now. Is it almost 10? Yeah. I know we re-signed him up, and we were happy about that when it came time to him thinking about maybe leaving. But the things that's going on in this university is awesome. A lot of small colleges are closing, and we're building, and we're growing. And I just think that under your leadership, we're so thankful for you, and we're proud of you. Todd, you know, Todd, I was his student assistant in middle school. That's how far back we go. He used to stay at the Drummonds, Bob Drummond at DT reference. Bob got me here to this university as well, so bless Bob. And but Todd used to stay across the street right from my house in the summers and pick on me. And then I ended up being a student assistant in middle school, and now he's my boss. So it's funny how this world works. But I want to thank him, and I want to thank the university for helping change the lives of all of us. Me and Port, and I came in a squirrely knucklehead, made a lot of bad choices, and I've just never wanted to leave this place after my heart softened, and I learned what the Lord could do for all of us and what I could help bring to the lives of our young athletes and these young ladies. So I just want to thank all those. I want to thank these girls for trusting me. They all came from various different parts of the world and states, but they trusted me. And you feel real salesy as a coach sometimes, and you want to give them your heart. But then you're like, if I give them too much too early, they'll think I'm a big fake. But all I know is to be real, and that's what you're getting today. All these girls are real with me. We kept it real. We communicated real. I talk to one of these girls weekly at least, and I'm very thankful for everything they've done for the university and coming here. Their families trusting in me and our program is just wonderful. Okay, this is all about them. And I just want to know that how thankful I am for them and the positive peer pressure they've put in my life to do the right things. When you got this kind of quality around you, you never want to let them down. And that's what I strive to do every day, not let my family down, not let the university down, not let these girls down. So I appreciate you guys in trusting me. And team sacrifice. These girls make sacrifices that you guys don't know. Everybody sees like when you win, and athletes get the gear, and athletes miss class, and you know, athletes do this. And I just want you to know these girls have given up a lot. I mean, a lot from day one. These females have given up. There's a James Baldwin, American novelist. He said, people might not get all they work for in this world, but they must certainly work for all they get. And these girls have certainly worked for all they get. We have nurses down there. We've got master's degree. We've got Division I basketball coach. We've got moms that are flourishing in the community and helping with young people. And they sacrifice a lot to get this championship. But personally, socially, physically, spiritually, academically, I can give examples of all these. Whitney didn't see her family for 7 years straight, maybe, basically. She's from Ireland. It's a personal sacrifice. Socially, these girls miss activities, relationships, parties, gatherings. They miss their spring breaks, their Christmas breaks, their summers. Physically, they got beat up. Girls don't want to look at bruises and noses and teeth. I mean, I still help Whitney with dentists and all kinds of stuff because she got hit in the mouth so many times. Spiritually, they miss Sundays, they miss weekends, they miss retreats, they miss time to focus on themselves and their own faith. And then academically, they make sacrifices. So yeah, they're getting out of class, but they're making all that stuff. And I just want to thank you guys for all the sacrifices you made to get to this point to where we can praise you. And you know, when I first started, we were grinders. Daria can tell you. I remember one time putting about a 3-minute clip of Daria jogging up and down the court, and I played it in front of the whole team. This is not a lie. I feel bad about it. I said, Daria, you're too good. You play too many minutes. You're too athletic. You're too dominant. Sprint down the court. She said, Coach, don't ever show that video again. I said, Daria, don't ever jog again. And so that's how we kept it, pretty 100. And she gave me everything. And when I used to get on her, she'd go like this, say, Coach. And she'd talk in her nice, sweet voice. But, you know, I learned a lot. There's our old AD, his name was Kevin Steele. And my wife can tell you, I drank Red Bulls, coffee, I had migraines, stomach issues. We went to all the doctors to see what all the problems were. Basically, I just was pouring every ounce I had into basketball, on and off the court, for my nonprofit and for my college team. Kevin Steele came by one day and he said, hey, why don't you go home? I said, man, we're not very good. I got to get better. Well, he said, you can do everything you can on that computer at your home because you're not going to have a family one day. And that kind of played into how we started to coach our team, because we can be really good at basketball and not have any relationships. We can be really good and win a lot of championships and not win the race and make it to heaven. We can do all those things, and at the end of the road, and not be it all be for naught, essentially. And one more quick story is Bill Owen. I work for Bill Owen. If you guys know Bill Owen, he's really good. You know, he's a good man. He didn't get out and recruit like I wanted to. So I'd come up to his office panicked about recruits. He'd say, John, go home and pray. And I thought, man, this guy thinks I'm just going to go and pray and people are going to show up. This is what prayer looks like, folks. This is a lot of prayer. My wife in my life is a lot of prayer. So faith and family has been the consonants for our team. And so a lot of times when our teams are doing bad, I get on them and I go into a life speech, they call it. And it's not about basketball. It's about the type of person, family member, wife, whatever you're going to do, employee, that you're going to turn into. And this team sacrificed a lot, and they kept faith and family as the number one thing. And for that, I'm ever thankful. Nowadays, I'm soft. They probably winning made me feel like I didn't have to go after it as much. But I want you to know you guys taught me way more than maybe I ever taught you, and I just wanted to tell you I'm thankful. I want to apologize to Daria and those teams before, because those were probably our best teams we ever had. This team was excellent, but some of those teams we had in those years were so good, but I wasn't very good. So I want to apologize to you guys too on that note. Thank you for teaching me all those things. Season recap real quick, because that's what it's about. These girls, I want to let you know everything they did. There's 14 players on the team. 4 showed up today. Is about what study hall looked like. So that's good. 4 seniors were Megan, Kylisha, Jasmine, and Natalie Felipe. We had 5 newcomers that year. We just won everything, went to the Sweet 16, lost essentially our best player in a graduation class of 8 that year, right? 8 girls graduated maybe? Or is it that much? Or the year before? Year before 8, and the year after 4 maybe, or 3 or 4. So we essentially lost our team in 2 years, and then that following year won the national championship. It's pretty spectacular. They're 32-5 overall, 19-3 in the conference. Most wins in a single season since I had been here. There's one team that won 34. Won the conference tournament. We're second in the season, regular season, to a very good Central Methodist team we thought we could never beat on earth, on life. First time ever advancing past the Sweet 16. They beat the number 1 team in the country for the first time ever, Vanguard. We went to California. Everybody, when we had Daria's teams, we'd get to the national tournament, they'd rank us, or they'd play us against the very best team, basically. They gave us no love. And someone told me, you got to go play all the best Raiders and the best teams in the country. So the next year, we went to Vanguard and played number 1 in the country and beat them at their place. Hadn't been done forever. And we finally got our name on the map. So anyways, beat them, ranked top 10 nationally in 10 categories: rebounding, blocks, assist, defensive field goal percentage, scoring margin, steals. All those are team oriented, giving to others, doing all the little things it takes to be good. We beat Baker 4 times that year, which was great. Kylisha over here was ranked top 10 in the country in steals, total assist. She was the Nationals champion, outstanding player. Jasmine was first team all-conference, honorable mention All-American. Championship Hustle Award, which is one of the major awards. She's a Division I transfer from Missouri. Track was her sport. 4-time state champ in Texas. Okay, in the 4x1, she can smoke it. All right, and then Megan. Megan was a first-team all-conference, first-team All-American, all-conference or all-championship first team, ranked number 4 nationally in total threes made and 11 in scoring. And we had kind of some standards that we always talked about, and it was never let your teammates down, embrace your role, and glorify God. And we talked about those often. And just a quick stories about never letting your teammates down. We beat number 1 in the country, then we come back the day after New Year's, which probably wasn't smart. We play Tabor. They're not number 1 in the country. They're KCAC D2 at the time, and we lose. And we go in the locker room, probably have an hour talk, cry. This is where we were talking about you, Daria, about how we need someone like that in our locker room and how we never need to let each other down one more time after leaving there, and what we were going to change so we could accomplish what we wanted. So that's just one story about that. Embrace your role. Megan Balcom was our leading scorer, first team All-American, all everything. And I came to her and I said, new game plan, because you have less than 24 hours in between games. You play 5 games in 6 days. We were getting no sleep because we were playing at like 9 or 10 at night. I woke up, I stayed up through the night, didn't sleep. I said, got a new game plan. They're not going to leave you, Meg. You're going to screen everybody, and we're going to not screen for you, basically. We're going to set screens on the point guard because they're not going to switch. We're going to set screens for Jasmine because they're not going to switch. We're going to set screens on our big players because they're not going to switch. And she scored very few points that game. And that was one of the embracing the roles at the highest level at the most crucial time of our season. And then glorify God. What you see today is these guys glorifying God. We talk about being the best version of yourself each day. And we're not where we're supposed to be. We're not where we want to be. But we need to make sure each day we're trying to get where we're trying to go. And I always put that on their plate to be the best versions of themselves. And I still remember Jasmine. She worked Crab Shack. Was that it? Crab Shack. She would miss scouting films and sessions. And she would work, and she had an apartment, and she left a full ride in Division I to come here. And she came to my office and said, Coach, I'm going to quit nursing. I said, you're going to what? Remember that story? She said, no. I said, you're going to quit doing all the other things you're doing in your life, and you're going to reschedule your life like this. And you're going to focus, because one day you're going to set yourself up for the next 40 years of your life, and you're going to need to be that nurse. And I think she reminded me she did change her schedule, maybe. But she accomplished it, and I'm very proud of you for that, and all these girls. And that's just another example of glorifying the Lord. But I'm just mumbling and going on, and that's what I figured it would turn into. I'm just thankful for all you guys, thankful for the university. We all want God's will in our life, and these girls coming to Mid-America was God sent, and they're God sent to me. And I'll forever be thankful and indebted to you guys, and you guys will go down in Hall of Fame. And I hope I can talk about you guys, and people can be remembered of all the successes you had, and then when they meet you, they can be just so proud of the type of people you are. So I'm thankful for you guys coming back, and I think that's all I got on my list. Anybody else missing? We good? Okay, thank you guys for going through this. I know you need to eat. Have a good day. Love you guys.
Behalf of the entire university to congratulate each of you who are recognized today. When we talk about Pioneers for Life, there's no way to sit down and write that definition. You live it. And your induction today and the example that you provided for all of us is the definition of Pioneer for Life. And so today we want to congratulate you, and we're very, very proud of you for this accomplishment. Your modeling is the inspiration for those that will follow you. And we just want to thank you for your testimony today. I've shared with Coach Lamar several times an unfortunate time in my life when I got the courage to try out for 7th grade basketball, and had a problem with a couple drills, and I kept tripping and falling on the way to the basket, and the coach was very uncaring and very unkind and very unchristian and cut me from the team. So that's when I decided my career was in music, which ironically lasted through high school and college, university, and then as I left, I was a music teacher, and I went to more football games, basketball games, sporting events as a musician and as a leader. And I've gotten to watch sports for years and years and years from the grandstand. And then for the last 37 years, worked with athletic directors on both high school and college sports programs, and had the pleasure of building programs together. My great joy in all of this is watching hard work, watching courage, watching determination, watching persistence, and watching men and women grow. One of the things that we observe from the grandstand is when the chips are down, the score's behind, times are tough, everybody's tired, something happens once in a while that just demonstrates what pioneer spirit really looks like. And so today, as you've shared today your accounts, and I'll never forget being in the grandstand the Baker night. I love Baker when they lose. It has been my joy to watch you all demonstrate what courage looks like, but what sportsmanship looks like, but what it looks like when you play for an audience of one. And many of you have mentioned that tonight, so thank you. I'd like to also say to the coaches, those present, those who preceded you that go clear back through the history of this institution. I just wrote an article for Accent Magazine on athletics. I called it The Other Classroom. You know, a lot of times when we talk about athletics, we talk about being in class or not being in class. But in reality, when our athletes are not in class, you're in another classroom. And the lessons our coaches teach, and the examples they lead, and the spiritual lessons that are taught, in some cases can't be taught anywhere else, because it's hard to learn lessons when you're getting banged around a little, or when you've lost a crucial game, or it didn't turn out the way you wanted it to turn out. But it's at that moment the teachable moments are powerful. And those lessons learned will never be forgotten. So I want to thank our coaching staff. DT, I want to thank you when you had an opportunity to speed up the clock when we really needed it. But and the kind way you credit other teams when they do the best they can. But I just want to congratulate all of our coaches. I want to congratulate all your recipients. MNU is very, very proud of you. We're beginning anew. This building was built. It's a miracle. In about 45 minutes, we're going to put a lid on it and celebrate it. And then in May, we're going to celebrate again when we open the doors of that building. It's a pure miracle. It's fully funded. But we've already started with our investment staff to begin to do something to improve our athletic complex. It looks like it's going to be about a $10 or $12 million project, and God is going to help us do that so we can bring football back on campus. Thank you very much. Get a track like our students deserve, and get better training facilities, and get that done as fast as we can. So again, I want to congratulate all of you, and I would be honored if we would just close this, if it's all right, with a word of prayer. Pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, what an amazing thing it is when you spread talents around and you concentrate those talents in men and women who play with their hearts and they play for you. We are fortunate, Lord, to be in a place where that's just who we are. So we thank you today for each one that's been inducted into the Hall of Fame. Thank you for your presence in their lives, and thank you for their testimony. Thank you for each player that has been recognized today and on these various teams, and all of our athletes today. All 465 athletes today, Lord, are learning lessons that only you can teach. So, Lord, we would just ask that you continue to do that and continue to make every day an opportunity to demonstrate what happens to a life when it's transformed by your love. Lord, today as we celebrate and we go on with the rest of this weekend, make it a homecoming we won't forget. Make Pioneer Spirit real, and make Pioneers for Life have more meaning perhaps than it ever has before. In thy name we pray. Amen.
appreciate your remarks. He's, man, a strong supporter of what we attempt to accomplish each and every day, so we appreciate you coming alongside us. As we exit, please, there are refreshments in the lobby, opportunity to connect and visit in an informal setting outside of the suit and tie. But DT, congratulations. Trent, congratulations. Clay, congratulations. Daria, well done. A well-deserved honor. And ladies and coaches, congratulations. You are the very best of who MNU is. Thank you for giving a piece of you to us. And we encourage you to share it and spread it across the country. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your time. And at 3 o'clock, so we do have 45 minutes to the cupola topping. But enjoy your time out in the lobby. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it.